There are Rodriguez, Tanner, Bandiera, Barbin, Gatto, Duque, Van der Sande, Veining, Bono, Monsalve and Malacarne, alongside Borganov and Puccio. That's our break today. And this is the pace that we're going at behind. And it's much more of a rough camera image, but you get much more of an appreciation for the pace that everybody's going down here. Again, the difficult job that it is to sit on the back of that motorbike and take newspaper quality pictures for the next day. 36.6 kilometers. Lampre coming to the front. Remember, they had stage winner Diego Ulissi. Garmin did a bit of the riding on that last climb. Gap going down to 5 minutes 39 now, and we haven't quite begun the hardest climb yet. That final climb, around 20 kilometers long, changes in gradients. Could be a nervous wait to see if we hang on again if they start to mess about up front. The advantage still good at the minute, and not quite enough interest behind. We'll see how it develops. We'll leave you with a shot of the Breakaway defending their lead. We go off for a quick commercial break. 35 k's to go. Very interesting development in that the gap has started to really go down. We're going downhill here, we're descending. BMC, quite surprisingly, doing a lot of riding on the front. Not sure if they necessarily need to do, but there's obviously a will there. They've taken the gap straight below 5 minutes, so 33.3 k's to go. Still the same 14 men in the breakaway, and we're hearing of bad news for Team Belkin. There is a suggestion that Steven Kruijswijk has abandoned. We wait to try and confirm that for you. He has not been feeling good, has been struggling with a supposed fracture since the start of the stage. There's Cadel Evans right at the front. Why are BMC doing this, Sean?
Well, I'm asking myself the question. When you look at the breakaway and the way it was sorting itself out front with the 14 men, no danger, but BMC really upped the pace here in the last 10 kilometres. They're, really turned the screw up, as they say in cycling terms. That means just, upping the pace big time. We can see here the peloton lined out a big stretch, and we can see Cadel Evans here just off the front of the group with 3 or 4 of his teammates just a bit further back and going at a very fast rate. An advantage for the breakaways coming down very quickly. 4:50 at the moment with 32 kilometres, and if they continue on this, considering we have a mountaintop finish again, it's going to be the situation. Will the breakaway, will some of this 14-man breakaway be capable and strong enough to hold on?
Getting confirmation now of what we told you a moment ago. Steven Kruijswijk has unfortunately abandoned. So 1 down for Belkin. They're now with 8 men. Kruijswijk, who lost a lot of time for a man who's fairly decent at what he does. Look at this, what a beautiful image on the winding roads here in Italy. Heading into Emilia-Romagna. Cyclists everywhere. Superb image. On this descent, heading down towards the start of the next climb, Rocchetta Sandri, and then it's the climb all the way up to Sestola. 4th cat, and then a 2nd category climb. We finished today at over 1,500 metres. Still snow up here. 16 degrees and a very nice day, though. 4 minutes and 47. We saw that Samuel Sanchez was being put to work by BMC, a new Stella signing over the winter, pardon me, losing out at Euskal del Euskadi, as everybody did when the superb team unfortunately closed its doors at the end of last year in Basque cycling. But the Asturian rider is riding well for BMC today. We saw him losing a bit of time without having to do too much work yesterday, but we've seen him up the front. He's in 3rd position now. Cadel Evans being piloted down this mountain brilliantly, and perhaps just wanting to stay safe here, Sean.
Well, what they're doing at the moment is not too safe. They're really pushing on here, going down at a very fast rate, as you can see here. Cadel Evans pushing big time, and everybody behind, as we can see, little gaps appearing, 2 and 3 bike lengths, as you can see there further back. That tells that the pace is very fast, so it's not playing safe at the moment. And I'm still asking myself the question, why are they pushing on so strongly? Because they do not have to do that with situation out in front and the breakaway of no danger to the general classification.
Well, if he wants to win the stage here and get more bonus seconds, that is an obvious little carrot to dangle, but it's a big risk to take, isn't it?
Getting greedy.
Well, he's already won. He's already taken the pink jersey, I should say, this week. But yeah, it's an obvious carrot to dangle. It's something that you would want to do as a racer, but with all of these guys behind, and they haven't done too much racing all day long, really. It's been letting the brake go, trying to control things. It is a pretty big risk to take, because there are some riders we saw yesterday who are in form here.
Well, it can work both ways. It can be a risk if you lose time because of the time bonifications to some of the other general classification men, but it can also work in Cadel Evans' favour. Maybe yesterday we did see them ride very strong in the end. He must have been thinking that he could do something in the sprint, and he is good an uphill finish. You know, he can put up a very good sprint against the other climbers. The real climbers, he's probably that bit better, but against the Ulysses, some of those more better punchers, he is not as fast. And Evans did suffer a bit yesterday, but maybe in the end, you know, he wasn't as good as he calculates to be. But it's possible with BMC, they're saying, well, we'll go for this one, we'll push on, try and pull back this brake and see can Cadel Evans get some bonus points, or a bonus time, sorry, because later in the race with the big mountains, he need to take any opportunity to get some seconds of an advantage over his main rivals.
Well, one thing we will do is salute BMC for lighting up the stage from a spectator's point of view. It's great to watch. Again, we're just questioning as to why they're doing this. Good work, though, from BMC. They really are putting the pace on everybody else. Movistar following behind, a couple of Omega Pharma Quick-Step riders, and Giant Shimano, who suddenly come to the front of proceedings on the final bit of that last climb. Inside 30 kilometres now. Cadel Evans there, 37 in that pink jersey, hoping to become the oldest ever winner of the Giro d'Italia. Single file all the way down. Stefano Pirazzi right at the back today. He was certainly at the front of the race for a long time 24 hours ago. Bardiani rider hoping to hang on and hoping for more breakaway opportunities, I'm sure, towards the end of the race. Took a nasty bang the other day. 4 professional victories, you can see. 6 years as a pro now. This is his 5th Giro d'Italia. Davide Malacarne on his own. We haven't seen the break for a while. Is this his strike for glory? We've seen him a couple of times just start off the front. Looks behind. So you get the feeling he has had a little run off the front. Oh, there we go. Be nice to see the full shot, wouldn't it? Just comes through and does his turn. Cameraman tricking us there.
On the front, but just on the front of the breakaway.
Exactly. 14 men still there. Still 4 minutes and 47 is a very good position for them. Now, if you're a director sportif talking to one of those men in the breakaway, you see this happening behind, you start to get a little worried.
Well, you get a little bit more concerned than 15, 20 kilometres ago, the way they're riding at the moment with the pace they're setting. But the advantage, you know, 4:47 with 28, it should be sufficient for some of those riders, because the good climbers we have out here in front, and we have named them. You know, there's 4 at least, possibly 5 riders capable of winning the stage. And now we're getting, you know, into the point where if you go in the attack, if you're really strong, it's uphill all the way, and you don't have, you know, to ride in the valley. For example, if you had a section in between 2 climbs where there's 10 or 15 kilometres, 10 kilometres in a valley road, for example, that would be the real killer. But here it's going up, it kicks up all the way almost. So for somebody to go in the attack, a good climber, it's the real terrain to be able to do that.
Samuel Sanchez there, number 58. Just in front of him is Quinziato and Daniel Oss at the front. Got a perfectly balanced team around Cadel Evans. So, penultimate climb of the day for the breakaway. Jonathan Monsalve on the right-hand side, Malacarne on the left. Malacarne onto the pedals, the Italian rider from Abruzzo. Just behind him, Tosh van der Sande, sprinter from Flanders. 27.9 k's to go. Climbing up for the next 4 kilometres, to Rocchetta Sandri. And it's a brief descent to Fanano. And then that long climb. Just under 20 kilometres long. Under 28 kilometres to go on stage 9 of the Giro d'Italia. This is the last stage before the second rest day. And of course, doesn't mean we're heading to the final week, because this year there are 3 rest days on the Giro d'Italia, or 2 rest days and a transfer day, let's say. The riders certainly didn't view the first one as a rest day, given the fact that they had to be up at the crack of dawn to get on a plane and transfer to Italy, and then do all their normal rest day massages and training rides. Chalapoud at the back here. 113 is Kenny de Haas. There's Arashiro, the Japanese champion. And Jetsabol, riding for Belkin, who've just lost one of their riders, Steven Kruijswijk, abandoning in the last 15 minutes or so. Peloton coming onto this climb now, and BMC still setting a very good rhythm here. And that group really has come quite considerably down. We've lost a few riders already.
Yes, it seems to be we've lost some riders on the descent, and not surprising the way they were pushing on, really going at a very fast rate, and it's caused a little bit of a break in the peloton. But I think we should see the rest coming back, as we can see here, just in the right hand side of our screen. We can see a group making their way back in.
Tinkoff Sachs on the left in their yellow. This is the group making its way back on. I wonder if there's anybody caught in that group that BMC would wish to distance. That would certainly explain something. Explain why they've been riding so hard.
Well, if there's anybody in general classification that far back, he should not be out that far in the peloton, because you know, you could see that BMC were pushing the pace on the uphill, and it was going to be quite a fast descent. And I'd be surprised. It's just some of the riders not confident descent, leaving a gap open there, and suddenly it's 10 metres, then it's 20-30 metres, and we could see a perfect example. Perazzi on the rear going into the corners, he was losing all the time, you know, 2 or 3 bike lengths, then he was closing it down to 2 or 3 bike lengths again as he comes to the next corner, same thing again, losing ground. And that's the perfect picture of somebody who's not confident on the descent.
Now, I've had a problem with one of the Astana riders. Oh, and it is Fabio Aru, the number 3. Aru with a mechanical problem, quickly needing a bike change. The man who's given him his bike is Borut Bozic, certainly given him his back wheel. And Fabio Aru, now the leader of Astana. They don't really want to have the first nightmare weekend. They lost Scarponi out of GC aspirations completely yesterday. Aru is still well placed at 5th overall. Ricardo Zoidl going back as well. And you can see Astana desperately trying to get their men back. Here come the cars. And not surprisingly, here comes the Astana car right alongside their riders as well. Big blow yesterday. Not they didn't see it coming. Scarponi really did hit the deck hard the other day. They've got to look after Aru here, because otherwise the race really goes for them. Yes, well,
certainly Aru is in a real good position at 1:39 at the moment, so he has to be looked after. And you know, we know his qualities. He is a serious climber, and I think you know, he could do a good place in general classification. Now that Scarponi is, you know, out of the equation, well, all the weight and all the expectations is on Aru to do something in general classification.
Garmin start to ride again, as do Giant Shimano. 2 of the teams out of the 3 we suggested really that would want something out of this stage, or would have a reason to ride. Française des Jeux being the other. Riders dropping off. This is the penultimate climb of the day. 4 minutes and 11 now, and if we get 2 teams suddenly starting to ride, then this equation could change quite dramatically on this climb.
Yes, well, it will change, and we can see already riders getting blown out the rear door, and the advantage we can see is coming down as well. Well, that's back to the original mechanical we had for the Astana rider, Aru. But 4:10 at the moment, 26 kilometres to go. It's surprising to see Garmin Sharp taking it up again, because they did do that 25+ kilometres ago and then disappeared totally. Now they want to take it up again at this very late stage with a 4-minute advantage, but it's going to be interesting here, because the breakaway, they're going to have to attack a bit further out here. They cannot continue on with his 14 men. The better climbers, the ones who feel that they can go for the stage victory, they have to start moving here much further out than they would be in calculating 20 kilometres ago, because the advantage was much greater. But it's interesting to see how this gap will come down. It is going to come down if Garmin, Sharp and some of the other teams continue to make the pace. Well, then this gap will come down, and it'll make it an interesting final now, because the advantage is not going to be great enough for the front group to have time to play around out front.
Belkin with an attack off the front. David Tanner going for it, going some King of the Mountains points. Of course, they have Martin Cialinghi already on the board with points. Belkin don't have too much else from this race. Wilco Kelderman in a decent position. He'll be chased down. Jonathan Monsalve there in second place. Will be looking for something. He's the man who took all the points as we went over the third category of the day at Sant'Antonio. This climb, remember, tops out in just under 2 kilometres time. Fabio Aru being helped there by Michele Scarponi on the right hand side. In front of Aru you have the Astana number 8, Paolo Tiralongo. Superb domestique. Right at the front of that train, we're looking at Andrei Zaitz, Kazakhstan rider. Quick shot of Bernie Eisel going at the back there. Astana making their way back on. Don't think there'll be too much of a problem. Seem to be making it up fairly well. Back of the peloton is in sight. Of course, it all depends on how much they're racing up here at the front. You can see 3 kilometres for them until the top of this climb. Not the ideal time to have a mechanical. This is David Tanner, the man who leads the race at the minute. He's gone out for these King of the Mountains points. This is a 25 kilometres to go banner. Not quite the top of the climb, around 1.5 kilometres to go until it tops out. After that, the longest climb of the day, the big one, the second category that leads us right up to this uphill finish at Sestola. 105 there is Manuele Mori. Asher Desert dropping riders as well. Patrick Gretsch. Breakaway group, 13 riders plus the one up the road. David Tanner has gone for it. Belkin rider attacking. There's Salvatore Puccio at the front in the black, Italian rider for Team Sky. Right at the back of the group, you've got Ager Desert and Julien Berard, the French rider. Jonathan Monsalve, the one who's easiest to watch in the fluorescent yellow, and he is the one to watch in this group, we think, certainly as we get towards the top here. Pieter Weening as well, very attacking, combative rider. He's in third place there in the white and dark blue, the Dutchman for Orica Greenheads, the Australian team. Fourth place in the black with the Colombian flag, we have Leo Duque. Fifth place there, the Lampre rider in the pink and dark blue, Matteo Bono. This is the peloton in the meantime. Just making sure everything's okay with the new wheel on for Fabio Aru. Canet hanging on there for as long as he can before being told to go away. Looks as though that they've made the back of the peloton though. Scarponi back in as well. This is where he's really going to be tested. Certainly with the pain of the other day. Winner of the Giro d'Italia, on paper at least, in 2011. Not on the road, that was Alberto Contador. 47, here's David Tanner, Australian rider riding for the Dutch team Belkin. Leader on the road at the minute. 3 minutes 30. Look at this advantage. It really has started to go down. Garmin setting a very, very good pace behind. And rather like yesterday, you start to think about a change in momentum behind. Will it be a day for the breakaway? We thought that it was likely to be so. Still well could be. But enough people starting to get interested behind to make you doubt that now. 24.1 kilometres to go. Great crowds here at the top of this latest dishing out the King of the Mountains points. First Belgian caravan of this Giro d'Italia, sure. There they are on the left.
One of many.
One of many to come, exactly. Superb fans. Well, they've got the satellite dish up as well, they can even watch it. Hello from Rocchetta. Ciao to the Giro d'Italia. Rocchetta is where we have the climb today, by the way. Rocchetta Sandri. Coming up towards the top of this climb here, Tanner. Not noted for his climbing abilities. He's doing okay here. 6 pro victories. Pro since 2006. It's his first Giro d'Italia. First Basque fan as well. You can tell the Giro's getting serious now and going uphill. The Belgians and the Basques are here. 125 metres for David Tanner to take some points on this 4th category climb. It'll just be 3 points on a 4th cat. Out under the pedals, getting plenty of encouragement as you might expect. You can see just a few of the soigneurs already dotted on the course. So important as we're almost at 20 kilometres to go, Sean. It's the last chance to take some bottles.
Yes, 20 kilometres inside that, not allowed, and it's easy to take a bottle when there's the masseurs standing on the side of the road. You can just pick them from him, where if you have to go back to the car, as we have seen here, the train has been difficult. The peloton has been going at a real fast rate, so to go back and to make it back up to the front, it's always a challenge, and to have a masseurs out on the road there, it's so much easier to do that and hand the bottle to the rider as they come through. And we see many times the way they can just pick the bottle from the hand of masseurs, it makes it look so easy.
3 minutes and 40 as they come over the climb. BMC, Giant, Garmin still doing a lot of the work. There is interest here in bringing this back. Again, with BMC taking over, Garmin just laying off the pace once more after putting it on very, very heavily. You sort of question how committed those teams who want to take it are, don't you?
Well, yes, it's been a difficult one for, to understand from a Garmin point of view, because they did take it up and then they disappeared very quickly, and of more recent they have done it again. Now they're gone, but it's easier said than done, because BMC were setting a real fast pace there, and it's possible that they just slowed it down a little bit, and that was the time that Garmin Sharp took it up, decided to keep the pace real top high, and now again it's BMC who are just in control. And 3:43.22 to go with the breakaway, with our man out in front, David Tanner. It tells us that the other big, the favourites for the stage win, or the better climbers, for another word, they're playing at the moment, playing time and waiting, because we haven't the best climber of the 14-man breakaway certainly out in front. Tanner, you wouldn't be noted for being a great climber.
Well, we're having a go with Pierre Roland again. Europe car start to do work on the front. Roland ready and waiting. 3 minutes 35. Front of the race, may well stop the break up soon. As Sean said, those big climbers, those favourites, if this stays together to take the stage, just waiting and continuing to wait. 3:34. Europe car. Now Katusha getting involved behind. Danny Moreno today would be a good shout, wouldn't he?
Yes, I think he showed yesterday that he is, in good shape, just not as maybe as explosive as we have seen him in the past, but can be feeling better. And there's quite a few riders that will think of going for the stage victory today. And now it's starting to get more interesting, because with that advantage coming down with this difficult finish, anybody who feel they can do something, they're going to start feeling the butterflies a bit and getting a little bit more nervous with the advantage coming down all the time.
Nairo Quintana right to the front, as is Rafael Majka. Not too many teammates around the respective team leaders there. Luca Paolini makes his way to the front of the race, just on the right of the pink jersey wearer Cadel Evans. Europe car, though, looking over the top. Remember, Pierre Roland yesterday attacked over the top of the climb. Bottle taken by Quinziato. Upon me, Daniel Oss it was. 3:14 then. The gap has come down. Latest acceleration being made 3:19 by Europe car. A lot of people coming off the back. Paolini did a lot of work on that climb, is just drifting back. We saw the first bit of suffering for Michele Scarponi. Looks as though it's another day with a gruppetto for him coming in later, something he's not particularly used to. Tanner, Vorganov and Malacarne taking 3, 2 and 1 over the top at the Rocchetta Sandri, the penultimate climb of the day. Stage 9 of the Giro d'Italia. It's been an interesting one today. Calculation as to who will make it. The breakaway out in front, All those behind looking for a stage win from the favourites group. 3 minutes and 18. We had a gap around 6, 7, even 8 minutes at one stage. This is going to be very interesting indeed. David Tanner had gone for it out on the front. 13 men behind him in the break. It was originally 14 up there. Favourites from the break, if they were to take it, you're looking at the climbers, the likes of Monsalve, Jackson Rodriguez, Pieter Weening, and maybe even Davide Malacarne or Julien Berard. There is Berard right at the back for Age Desert, but interestingly enough, behind Domenico Pozzovivo, finding himself at the front. Very, very close in the first 15 to 20 bike riders of this chasing group. It's splitting up already behind. We've had different teams having a go. Giant Shimano putting plenty of bodies up to the front. Garmin Sharp as well, not representing in the break. And we've seen even the leaders team BMC having a go. It's all been a little confusing with less than 20 kilometres to go today.
Yes, it's very confusing because there's teams taking it up for a short period, then disappearing, a different team then coming on, and then the team of Cat 11's BMC taking back control again on the front of the peloton. And more recent, we have seen Team Europcar for Pierre Rolland riding on the front. And so I asked myself, why are they setting the pace at the moment? Because Pierre Rolland, if you're going to attack, you don't have to ride in the front for a number of kilometres. You can do that. If you want to go on the descent, you just wait in the top 5-10 riders, and then you hit it big time and go on the descent or go on the uphill. You don't have to control the front of the peloton for a number of kilometres before you do that, because that's really putting the flag up and saying, well, I'm going to attack here, guys.
Here we go. Talking of attacks, pardon me, Sean, this is Pieter Weening. We thought this might happen. He is an attacking rider. It's in his nature. Pieter Weening, one of the most exciting riders when you get him in a breakaway. He's gone for it, and he could see the gap coming down. This was the moment he went. 3:19. Now then, this gap behind, this group behind, is going to fracture, isn't it now?
Yes, I think we're going to see more riders trying to come across here and join up with Pieter Weening, and that will definitely, break up this breakaway. And they need to do that, because with the advantage, coming down to under 3.5 minutes, 18 kilometres. It sounds very little, 18.4 kilometres to finish, but it's all, uphill from here on. And we know the way you can lose time if they continue on riding and pushing on back in the peloton. Well, this advantage will come down majorly, and we'll need some of the better climbers to get busy pretty much immediately.
And pretty much immediately we have the final climb beginning. Very, very shortly. The only little flat bit of road is what Weening chose to have a go on. And we're beginning our way up to Sestola. If it comes back together, you're looking at the main sort of protagonists like we saw yesterday. At the minute, though, Pieter Weening is attempting to join David Tanner, who's out there in front on the road. Up to Fanano. And that is where the climb starts, really. Second category climb all the way up to Sestola. Almost 1,000 metres still to climb. It's a second category. It's a climb that changes gradient all the way up, really. Not particularly constant. It's rather like yesterday's stage finish. Not the hardest bit of climbing either. Not one where the pure climbers can really make a difference. We have a maximum little period of around, let's say, 13%. Harder spot the climb coming in just after halfway up, and it tends to ease off ever so slightly again. In the last kilometre, the gradient is at 4.4%. BMC to the front as a squad. This is Fanano, very close to Modena. Important buildings in the town, as you can see, built in the 16th and 17th century. By the way, Modena and, of course, Bologna, the food capital of Italy. Riders will be having to do their best not to indulge on the rest day. Also the university capital of Italy as well. First ever university in the world. Modern university in Bologna, still in existence. But that's where they're headed. Still snow up there in this ski resort of the region, Sestola. This is Pieter Weening. 3 minutes 29. That's the gap to David Tanner, by the way. David Tanner to the peloton. Interesting to know exactly what's happening. Well, pardon me, looks as though, whilst we've been looking away, Weening has caught Tanner and is the leader of the race. So that's the gap to Weening. BMC. Movistar just behind. Lamprey with a few riders as well. Azure Desserts, as we were yesterday. Tinkoff Saxo of Rafael Maiker in there in the white, but don't seem to have too many bodies in and around him. 17 Ks to go. BMC still looking strong, Sean. They've got strength in numbers there.
Yes, as we see in the stage yesterday as well, they had the numbers more so today, and at the moment they're tapping out a good pace in the front, but they're not going as fast as they were some time back the road, and we can see 3:30 at the moment. It looks like they have knocked off the pace a little bit, and the advantage, is going to hold on, if not maybe grow out. But we can see Pieter Weening out front. He's pedaling a bit square looking. He's not smooth there and doesn't look to be really comfortable at the moment. But you cannot be comfortable when you're going for it like this, and it's a long one for him to go out early. But he has to do it, I think, because he knows the better climbers, if he wait till later, well, then he's not going to be able to match them. And what he wants to do maybe is to pull an advantage before they get to the more steeper parts of the climb.
Barbin is following, as is Rodriguez. In fact, yes, Jackson Rodriguez, pardon me. And Tosh van der Sande. Just behind them is Leo Duque. Further up the road, Davide Malacarne is the first chaser of Pieter Weening. As Sean Kelly predicted, this group is splitting up. Just behind them, you can see the bright yellow of Jonathan Monsalve, one of the strongest, if not the strongest climber in this group, alongside Jackson Rodriguez, the two Venezuelans. 2 of 3 in the race, remember. 3:16, 3:15, 3:14. You can see it coming down quickly. Veining, as Sean said, pedaling, really putting an effort in. At the minute, it is a little worrying. The road is starting to go uphill. Takes a bottle from the neutral service bike. And he's going to need some refreshment. There's a long, long way to go yet. 16.1 Ks left. Marco Bandiera about to be caught. First man from the breakaway to drift back. He's been in the break the last 3 days. And as his surname suggests, flying the flag for the breaks. Interesting little situation here in the peloton as we begin to climb. BMC, Europe Car, Movistar. Giant Shimano with Simon Geske there, the German, doing a heck of a lot of work for his team. Shimano looking the likes of Georg Peidler and Tobias Ludvigsson to try and do something uphill. This is Malacarne trying to chase down Pieter Weening, trying to make the bridge, and you can see by his effort face, it's really taking everything out of him here.
Yes, and we can see he is really pulling back Weening rapidly as he's going to join him just about this moment, and it's an interesting one. The better climbers we were looking at not really showing for the moment. Are they starting to suffer? Surprising they're not making the move across here, because with 15 kilometers to go, if you're a good climber, well, then you can't allow anybody to ride away. As we have 2 riders out in front, Malakari and Weening, to close down that gap is going to take an effort, but they're not too far off this chasing group, as we can see here. I don't think the advantage, 15 seconds maximum.
It's not that big at all. Weening did his best to get out there. Tosh van der Sande's going to have an attack. He's going to be followed straight away by Julien Beral. Here we go then, another group attempting to make the gap. 15.3 kilometers to go. The peloton and the big favourites 3 minutes and 57 back. We've said all day that certainly BMC would probably quite like to let this break go, let the bonus seconds go out the equation and see what happens. But they're climbing all the way to the finish now. It's a second category climb. There are hard sections, not as hard perhaps as yesterday, but we've got one little bit at 13% and an average middle section of this climb of 8.7%. Average of the last section of the climb, and the section we're on at the minute around 4.5%. As we said many times, it's not necessarily the parkour that makes the race, it is the racing on it that makes the difference. Pieter Weening on the right hand side, the Dutchman riding in the white and dark blue Foreca green edge. He's accompanied by Davide Malacarne. Now then, Leo Duque wants to come across. Duque coming to this chasing group of Tosh van der Sande in the red, the Belgian rider, and the Frenchman Julien Beral in the white and brown. Rides for Azure Desert. Time clicking here, trying to get some sort of gap. And there we go. Well, it's a bigger gap than we thought. 29 seconds. Jackson Rodriguez coming through. Remember, Androni down to just the one man in the break as Marco Bandiera dropped ever so slightly. Situation evolving all the time here. What isn't changing, Sean, is that gap of 3:51. It's looking a little better from the break now than it did maybe 3 or 4 kilometres back.
Yes, it is looking better for the breakaway, and we could see the last pictures we had up front of the peloton. It had slowed down a lot. There was a lot of teams on the front, but not really pushing on. Again, we can see it's BMC who are leading, just about leading from the other teams who want to take control in the front of the peloton, but nobody really pushing on and going at a fast pace, because they're too grouped across the road in the peloton to be going full gas. And we can see the advantage. It's looking good for the breakaway, and a lot of playing about here, attacking. And we could see Julian Berard when he was away with Tosh van der Sande. He was sitting on, and it's some of the men were not expected to be here in the final that have been to the front in the very last kilometres here.
3 minutes and 53 seconds, all the way back to the Maglia Rosa. This is Scarponi. He's alongside Mattia Cataneo, right on the back of the main group here. Valerio Agnoli coming back for Scarponi, trying to keep him in that group. BMC still on the front in their red and black jerseys for the race leader, Cadel Evans, who obviously, as race leader, is in the Maglia Rosa, the pink jersey. You can see the Croatian champions jersey of Kieselowski to the right. This is the lead pairing at the minute on the road. Peter Weening on the right, the Dutchman, Davide Malacarne just behind him, the Italian riding for the French Team Europe car in the green. 3 minutes 45 for them. Julien Berard, the latest to really attempt to try and make this difference. 20-odd second bridge to be made. The question is, can he make it in the break yesterday as well? Monsalve is the man in the luminous yellow on the right-hand side. Salvatore Puccio still up there, and here goes Jackson Rodriguez. He decides he can't wait either. Venezuelan rider riding in the whites of the Italian team, Androni Giocattoli. Long way to play this out, though. Again, it's so important if you've been in that breakaway, Sean, as well, riding hard, you've eaten, you've watered, you've been ready, because you don't really want to blow up on this final climb, having done the hard work to get here.
No, you have to be real careful out in the breakaway. You have to be sure that you eat and drink plenty, and then it's all about making the calculation and not having to start chasing when the riders are going in the attack out of the breakaway. And we've had a lot of that where those guys going out, try and conserve as much as energy as possible, and play the waiting game, but not play it too far, because then you're going to maybe have difficulty closing down. If you allow 25-30 seconds an advantage for 2 men out in front, for example, that is a big gap to close down. So you have to make sure you try and get out of the group. But the section we're on at the moment, where the breakaway is not that steep, so it's difficult for the reed climbers to create any difference.
Section that is the most difficult comes just after halfway up the climb.
Here comes the chasers.
Some on the up, the rest on the way down. They're chasing rather quickly on the snow. What's left of it, rather. Great to still be skiing in the middle of May. Imagine the snow machines are being put to work at that time. It's the machines of Europe Car and Orica Green Edge being put to work at the minute. Peter Weening looking round the corner of that hairpin, looking to try and see if the chasers are going to join them or not. 3 minutes and 45 seconds with less than 13 Ks to go. 35 seconds, they're actually putting time into those chasing. Weening and Malacarne, a very hard working pairing here, Sean Kelly.
Yes, they're working well together, and there are two guys who can ride very strong on this section, because it's not a very steep gradient, more more powerful riders, but when we get to the steeper section, that's where we should see the better climbers coming into their prime. But again, this advantage is growing out all the time, and when you're back here in this group with, what, 3, 6, 9 riders at the moment, there's going to be a lot of marking, and when you go in the attack, there's always riders want to cling onto your wheel, so it could be a little bit difficult for some of the ones to get out of this group. And during that time, we can see the two up front are working away and pulling the advantage, pulling second by second away.
You got a feel for Davide Malacarne here.
Yes, and it looked like Malacarne was, feeling good here. He just takes the front and plays about with Weening, and probably takes up the sprint a little bit too early. But Weening was, really powerful here. And normally, if you're a better sprinter, you stick the other man in the front and you just stay in his wheel in the last 500 metres, and then he has to do the lead out. But Weening in the final, 20 metres there, just that bit more energy, and winning 2 bike lengths.
Pieter Weening waited, and again the experience and perhaps the calm mind of already having won stages at the Giro d'Italia and the Tour de France. He takes his second ever win at the Giro from Orvieto to Sestola. It's been 3 years, but here he is again, and we're about to see him on the top of the podium. And boy, did he enjoy his day. What a great rider Pieter Weening is. He is one of the most entertaining out there, isn't he?
Yes, well, he's a very entertaining rider, and when he gets into the break, he is a real candidate to get something out of it. And we must remember, he spends so much time working for the team as a domestique, but when he gets into a breakaway, he can produce the goods. He's done it already, and he's done it once again today.
Superbly entertaining rider. Kudos to Domenico Pozzovivo. He's really put himself up in the fight for the Giro d'Italia now. A serious contender. He has to be considered. Of course, he's always been there or thereabouts. People saying possible podium, but I can tell you, he's going to be less than a minute and a half off the lead now. Asher Dozer have had a really good couple of days. The delight, though, for Orica Green Edge. It's been their Giro so far. They have taken the bulk of the prizes in the first 9 days. And Cadel Evans leads by 57 seconds from Rigoberto Urán. No change there. Micah third, but Pozzovivo is now up to fourth. 1 minute and 20 seconds behind. Today, he has gained exactly 30 seconds on his rival. Steve Morabita going down to fifth. Aru, Ulissi, Kelderman, Quintana and Kieselowski are our top 10. Slight changes and the first real make-up of this general classification fight in the Giro d'Italia. Evans still our leader after stage 9.